introduction of UK's Online Safety Act has sparked a lot of conversation and confusion. Both users and businesses are still trying to make sense of what it really means and how to navigate it. Today, we have with us Professor George Loukas, Professor of Cybersecurity, Human-centric and Cyber-physical Security at the University of Greenwich, to talk through some of the challenges and to explore how we might approach the Act more thoughtfully moving forward. So, Professor, since the Act came into effect, we've seen a mix of strong public reactions. There's been a noticeable spike in VPN usage, and now hundreds of thousands of people have signed a petition asking for changes to the legislation. But beyond those immediate and visible responses, from your perspective, what does this say about how the public is engaging with the Act, and what sort of real-world impact are we actually seeing so far?
No, that is true. There's a massive reaction, but we have been expecting this for a while now. This is not a new discussion. The bill has been in preparation for a very long time. It is a mega bill. There have been consultations for a long period of time, and they will continue to be. So that's one of the important aspects that this hasn't finished. Now, the central part of this is the usual privacy versus safety trade-off, or privacy versus safety debate. That is central and is not going to go away very soon, mainly because it relates to technological advances that haven't happened yet. So, for example, it is expecting to some extent that it is possible to scan messages without breaching people's privacy, which is not technically possible yet. It is expected that there will be age verification that is very accurate, which is not completely possible yet. So there are many aspects that are kind of aspirational in relation to the bill, but I would say that on the whole, it shows that the public cares about the problem of online safety. It's just that most of us want it to be done correctly.
Yeah. So, as a Gen Z myself, I've noticed that whenever we face restrictions online, there'll always be someone who will find a workaround to it. But not for all the reasons that are harmful as one might think. So, when a demand as such rises, you often see the market adjusting to it, coming up with new tools and services to address that demand. That makes me think about the gaming industry as well, which compared to other areas still isn't very tightly regulated. Are there any other areas like that, or any specific technical challenges in implementation that you feel are being overlooked right now?
I would say the games industry is the most obvious one, but then again, that's because the games industry is not used to regulation, not the level of regulation that you see in other industries, like in the adult industry, for example. The adult industry was affected immediately, but it was kind of expected. The games industry does not have that experience, so you see a wait and see kind of attitude with all of this. I wouldn't say that there is a specific other industry that is that different, but the most companies. I would say that companies that don't have the technological resources or technological expertise are as surprised or as uncertain or as unready as the games industry.
Okay. So when it comes to age verification and identity checks, especially for younger users, there are growing concerns about surveillance and how personal data is collected and stored. Uh, do you see a risk of this data being misused either intentionally or through poor handling? And if so, how should businesses be thinking about data responsibility and when implementing these kinds of checks?
Companies who have some history of data responsibilities, companies that have worked on this in the past will simply see this as one more area where they need to be responsible in terms of handling people's data. People who have not done it in the past because they didn't have to, and I'll get back, I'm going back again to the games industry, will probably find it difficult to comply with the regulations in general, to be ethical when it comes to the data usage, because they just don't have the technical expertise or the experience in general to deal with this properly. But this is a real risk, has always been a real risk. It's not going to happen anytime soon. As long as there is no technologically proven way of having no risk, let's say age verification, no risk scanning of messages and so on, this will continue existing because after all, it's human beings behind every company decision. So it will continue happening.
Okay. With AI tools becoming more common, we are also seeing more AI-generated content, including including content that could fall into age-restricted or inappropriate categories. Do you think we currently have effective ways to identify and moderate this kind of content, or could AI itself be a part of the solution in enforcing the Online Safety Act more accurately?
This is a massive point that you're opening indeed. AI is transforming everything. It's certainly transforming the way that, first of all, illegal content is created. Second, the way content or protection mechanisms are defeated. It is certainly part of the discussion as to how we detect such content. Since the very beginning, the instinctive reaction of all scientists to, for example, detecting deepfakes has been to create another AI that will detect a deepfake. This is central. I cannot possibly see a world where AI will not be used in order to detect anything that needs to be detected at scale. I don't think this will ever be the case. I think it can only be done with AI, at least for the time being. But I also, I think you put it very well, cannot be on its own. It needs to be part of a solution. There is no way that AI will ethically, properly, accurately do this on its own. I think it's a matter of having what I call human as a sensor, which means that the human beings will be part of the discussion. But for this to happen, there is only one way, which is education. If human beings, the users that are affected by AI, are not educated, do not understand the cues of something that has been manipulated by AI, for example, it is not, I don't think it's sufficient to simply say that someone else will do it for them. That someone else in the past may have been a company doing it for them. In the future or in the current situation, it might be AI doing it for them. But I don't think this is the right way to do things.
Okay. Uh, Looking ahead, what do you think the next phase of online safety regulation might look like? And if you had the chance to advise the policymakers directly, what would be your main recommendation or area of focus moving forward?
Now, the underlying theme that I see in all discussions related to the Online Safety Act and the Act itself is that of technology. Now, it is a little bit aspirational, as I said earlier, in the sense that it expects that technology will be developed, but for this to happen, it needs some form of action. It cannot simply be mentioned in a recommendation document, for example. It cannot simply be general advice from lawmakers. It actually needs to happen. The companies do not necessarily have the interest to invest in the technologies that are needed. For some technologies, it is simply impossible to develop. So this needs to be taken into account, which has not been taken into account sufficiently, in my opinion, up to now. But if we are to focus, for example, on age verification, which is my primary interest in this, I think that there needs to be an understanding that that innovations in age verification can only happen if there is an expectation that they will be inaccurate at the beginning and they will grow in terms of accuracy later. The current state of affairs, which is about expecting nearly 100% accuracy by technologies, means that the only real way that people have for this is to document check, basically, to do checks of documents. Now, checks of documents kill pretty much every industry. No one will play a game if they need to do a document check at the beginning. And if they do it only once, then it defeats the whole purpose of online safety if it only has to happen once, because then your computer or your account could be used by anyone. So for technologies to actually make sense in age verification, there needs to be understanding that it's better to be a lower accuracy at the beginning so that new technologies will come out of everywhere in the scientific and R&D communities, rather than expecting that they will be perfect from the beginning, which basically gets us back to technologies and age verification methods that cause so much friction that people will look for workarounds. We've already seen that there is a massive spike in VPN usage, for example, because people don't want to give their documents out when they are age verified. And this trade-off of reducing friction but having perhaps lower accuracy needs to be considered by the lawmakers.
Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, I think we need to be positive on the whole regarding the bill because it has a very real purpose for existing. And in science, we have always this almost fetish for optimality. Obviously, it's not optimal. Obviously, it will have mistakes. In fact, there are mistakes already, technical mistakes that are in there. But we need to remember that it's about improving the safety on the internet, and this is direly needed at the moment.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. It's been a great discussion, and you've shared some really useful insights on the UK Online Safety Act. Until next time.
Thank you very much.